Dak and Brock Purdy are leading the MVP race, where would they be if a team's got to pick a quarterback and you now take them kind of off of the team and you say these are just the best quarterbacks? You put them into any situation and they're the quarterback so who could pop into the Cowboys and do better than Dak Prescott? Who could be in those positions? Who could be on each team? And then where do those guys rank? And where does Brock Purdy rank? Where does Dak Prescott rank? Because right now they're leading MVP, but I don't think anybody has them 1 and 2 as the two best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
And so we know the conversation was last year. People were saying that Dak Prescott wasn't a top 20 quarterback, which is insane. And this was in his worst season last season of interceptions, which was an anomaly. Much better this season.
But in the same breath, they would say Josh Allen's top 5, who co-led the league in interceptions with him.
I agree. And there's difference because Josh Allen, like Dak Prescott does not have going to drive you down the field and win you a game. Dak Prescott.
He does this year.
But I know, but he hasn't had to this year. But that's
right.
not a thing people have seen. And that's what people want to see is, oh man, did you see the highlights?
Yeah.
Did you see his highlights? And Dak Prescott highlights aren't necessarily the greatest thing because that's not what he does.
No.
But neither are Brock Purdy highlights.
Right.
So that was the question of where do we rank? And so I have my list of all 30 quarterbacks.
Okay, I've got 15.
All right, I've got all 30 because I think it just becomes hard to put into sections.
That's why I stopped at 15 because after that I was just kind of randomly placing people.
And that's my point is I was trying to go through because there's a second part to this we'll get to. But the first part we start off is Patrick Mahomes your number 1 quarterback.
Absolutely.
So we go there. Who's your number 2 quarterback?
Joe Burrow.
So I don't have Joe Burrow there anymore. And there's 2 reasons for that.
Okay.
Joe Burrow is my number 3.
Okay.
Joe Burrow's my number 3.
Fair.
But how he looked this season, I know he was dealing with injuries, but there was just a lot of problems that he was having this season where he just couldn't quite figure out the defenses. And then what Jake Browning is doing with that team right now. And I get there's so many extenuating. I moved him to 3.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. It did not move him that
you
far
didn't
down.
drop him off the face of the earth.
No. But I think there's a few things where you say, okay, this other guy who's showing up right now who has different abilities.
Yeah.
I have Lamar Jackson as my number 2.
Okay.
I have Lamar Jackson for what he's doing in Baltimore right now with not a ton of help.
Yeah.
And what he's able to do, carry this team on his back, and what we've seen him do in the past. And when they finally got him some weapons, being able to use those more and more. And as much as he's not a throwing quarterback, he can throw the football. We've seen him do it.
And he terrifies you on the ground.
And he does.
Yeah.
And it makes it so you have to defend him in multiple ways. So I have him right now as my number 2. If you put him on any team, that team's automatically better.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I have him there just above Joe Burrow because I think if you just see the way they were playing with their teams this season, Joe Burrow, I think he's still number 3 on my list.
It's not like he's not on the list.
But if you see everything around it, I just have to go, okay, well, he wasn't Superman.
Yeah.
And he was hurt, but he wasn't Superman at all. And Lamar Jackson has been Superman. Patrick Mahomes has been Superman.
Fair enough. So Joe Burrow's your number 3 then?
Number 3. Number 4, and this is where we start to get into it a little bit because I think those 3 kind of go on a separate level.
Yes.
And then we go to the next level. And this is where it gets harder a little bit because there's a group of guys that you can kind of put in this next category. Who's your number 4? I'm guessing I know who it is.
Number 4 for me is Lamar, actually.
Okay, so number 4, who's your number 3?
Number 3 was Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, number 4 for me is Aaron Rodgers. So
Okay.
we're on this level with Aaron Rodgers, and I get he's getting older, so he's kind of in that. We saw him play, 3 plays this year?
And last time we saw him play healthy, he was the 3-time MVP.
Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers is number 4 for me. He just doesn't have that, X-Man ability anymore.
I just need him for 1 year.
But if it's 1 year, I still have Aaron Rodgers on there. So we're both top 4 of the same 4 guys.
Right.
Okay, now number 5.
Dak Prescott.
I have Dak Prescott as my number 5 as well.
Wow, we are in agreement.
I do have, so this is why. And so I get this, but this is where the conversation starts, where I think Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, and there's some other guys here, but I think those are kind of in that range of depending on what you're looking for.
Right.
That's that guy.
Needs a scheme.
And so I have there, I'll go through my next few because I think these are kind of all in that level of.
In that same range.
In that same range. And I'm dropping one of them a little bit because of his performance this season.
Okay.
But I have Josh Allen. I have Trevor Lawrence in that group that I think is a really good quarterback.
Really?
I have Tua in that group.
Okay.
And then it goes down to, I think Herbert's just out of that group for me now.
Okay. So mine goes Tua, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford. And that goes all the way through 9 for me.
Okay. So I go 6 is Josh Allen, 7 is Trevor Lawrence, 8 is Tua, 9 I put Brock Purdy. Because of what he's doing, I can't really drop him too much further because he's doing everything he's supposed to do. He's not turning the ball over. And we don't know if he could do more.
I know it's tough because you can't judge him against anything.
But he's doing everything he's supposed to do, so I can't drop
Right.
him any lower because you said, well, if you put him on a lot of these teams, like if you put him on the Chargers, I imagine the Chargers are better. And if you put him on the Jaguars, I don't know how much worse they are.
Yeah, no, and I hear what you're saying. And like I said, there's nothing to judge against it. My only argument for this is life is a whole lot easier when you can turn around and let CMC go for 79 on the opening play of
I agree,
scrimmage.
but I can't put him too far down my list because of what he's doing on the field,
Fair.
because of his decision making, and that's where I'm dropping guys like Jalen Hurts down because Jalen Hurts' decision making hasn't been great this season.
Yeah, fair.
And so he's going to drop down because I think you put Jalen Hurts on the 49ers, as great as they are, if he throws 3 picks in the game,
Doesn't take care of the football.
then,
Yeah.
you're not doing better.
But dude, how many wide open crossing routes does Brock
I
Purdy
agree.
throw?
I agree. But if you're not seeing those and you're trying to do something more special, I'm not. Look, we know the positions. Jalen Hurts drops to 11 for me. I have Justin Herbert at 10.
Okay.
And then I drop down to 11 is Jalen Hurts. Where does Brock Purdy fall on your list?
Brock Purdy falls all the way to 14 for me.
14. So you still have a few guys. Who else is ahead of Brock Purdy on your list?
Ahead of Brock Purdy still is Jared Goff, Deshaun Watson, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Anthony Richardson.
What you saw in 3 games is enough.
I'm not, but that's my problem is I'm not going to put him on there as enough just solely in the fact.
Who? Okay, so which of those two is the better quarterback, Anthony Richardson or Brock Purdy? Take the weapons away. If you just had to start your team with a quarterback, you take
No, but I'm not. You're saying start. If I had to pick a guy to win me a game tomorrow, I'm picking Brock Purdy because I don't know if Anthony Richardson.
Well, that's because Anthony Richardson's still recovering.
No, but I'm saying healthy wise.
Yeah,
I'm still
no,
gonna
I got
because I just don't know. Like he looked good, but also Will Levis looked really good for the first 2 games.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But Anthony Richardson is so dynamic on the ground too. That's part of why he's hurt. But God, I have a hard time giving Brock Purdy a lot of credit for that. I really do, because you can't tell me there's another running back that matches CMC. You can't tell me there's another wide receiver that matches Deebo Samuel. You know what I mean? And Kittle, one of the top 2 tight ends, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, life gets a lot easier. Not to mention you have one of the best play callers of our generation calling that offense.
No, it is. I'm with you. All right, let's go down to some other people. Deshaun Watson's my number 13. I have CJ Stroud ahead of Deshaun Watson right now just because Deshaun Watson hasn't looked great
You got
in
him
the
at
time.
12?
I have CJ Stroud at 12, Deshaun Watson at 13.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins I put at 14. He's a guy that it's
Ooh,
hard to drop him that far down your list,
he didn't even make mine.
but he's hard to drop too far down because we know what he can do. He does win a lot of games.
Yeah.
And then I go Matt Stafford there. I think Matt Stafford's playing well right now, but I
still
just
believe.
but it's just I don't put him in any, again, no X-Man ability. He kind of is a good player who have put in the right system, but at this point in his career, he's not safe. Without other players really stepping up, he can't do a ton. He can do enough, but I take Brock Purdy over him every day of the week.
Whoa, I don't know about that one. For just one season?
For one season, yes.
I
Because
don't know
Brock
about
Purdy's
that
doing what I need him to do, and Matt Stafford will probably 8 games out of the season.
one.
And he's just not consistent at all.
Matt Stafford's a gunslinger, yeah.
He is a
He's
gunslinger.
going to try and fit it in.
Yeah.
He's,
Another guy on there, Russell Wilson. Where does he fall for you?
he's not even in the top 15 for me. I actually have Geno Smith in at the 15 slot.
Okay, yeah, Geno Smith is my number 17.
Yeah.